All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Raphael, and I'm going to be doing the training for you guys today, so welcome. Just a few details here before I jump into this. As far as communication, only you guys are able to hear me. So if you need to communicate to me for any reason, all of you have access to a question box with your GoToMeeting control panel. So go ahead. Communicate to me through that option there. You can throw in your feedback, comments, questions, anything that you may have as I'm going through the software here. Okay. So just wanted to point that out. Now today it is a Trumpia software training, so for the most part, I'm going to be going over the core features of the platform. So this is for anyone that is new to the platform or maybe just needs a refresher so that we can go over some of the some of the core features on the new interface. Okay, so right now what you see on your screen, this is our classic interface. Okay, so that's what you're seeing here. And just to let you guys know, for those of you that have not been able to maybe play around with the platform enough, it is possible that you could be navigating between two of our interfaces. We have a classic version and we have a new version, and that all depends on the feature that you guys plan on using. So again, it's possible if there's some features there that you might want to use. At the moment, some of them are still on the classic version. Okay, we have the new interface, and I'm going to jump onto the new interface in a little bit. But just wanted to point that out, that it's possible you could be going back and forth. Okay, we're currently in the transitioning, trying to transfer all of the features that we have on the classic onto the new. Okay, however, we do offer quite a bit of features, so it's taken us some time to do that. Okay, so we're doing it in phases. So let's go ahead, let's jump onto the new UI. Okay, so if you're ever on the classic, again, depending on the feature that you plan on using, if you want to switch over, there is a giant blue button here that says go to new UI. You can go ahead and click on that, and that'll send you into the new interface. Now, many of you, when you log in, this is what you guys see. Okay, so I'm sure for the newer customers, this is very common to you. Okay, so here, some of you might have some pop-ups or maybe some activity that you guys are currently going through within the account. Okay, so you can, let's see, okay. So you can either delete that or just go straight into accessing the platform, okay. So the core features on the platform, which I'll be covering today, are to the left. Okay, so today I'm going to be covering contacts. Specifically, I'm going to go over distribution lists. That's normally where we like to start. Then I'm going to move into signups. Okay, go over some of the opt-in tools. And then once I'm done with that, we'll go into sending out a message. Okay, for a lot of people that we sign up, that's typically the flow that they would go through in order for them to start sending messages from the platform. Okay. All right. So let's go back to the very first step, contacts. All right. So we get a lot of customers that sign up with us, and right away they are anticipating or just trying to set up the account so that they can start sending out messages. Okay. So this happens quite a bit. Now, to send out messages, you have to start with the contacts, and you have to get contacts in the database first. All right, so the first place to start would be contacts, and then from the drop down here, you want to select on the distribution list option. Okay, so here, this is where you can create your different distribution lists. Now, with your distribution list, you can think of them, or to make it easier for you to understand what a distribution list is, you can think of them kind of like a file or folder. Okay, you do have to create these first before you can get contacts in the database. So this is where I would suggest to start. Okay, so to the right here, you have a like a greenish blue button here. that says create new distribution list. So start with that. Now, distribution list pretty much runs across the platform. Oftentimes when you set up a feature, you'll have a step where it asks you what distribution list you would like to use. So it's possible right then and there you can create a new list, but oftentimes you'll be able to select from any of the existing lists that you've already created. Okay, so if you do create a new list, you'll get a pop-up like so. So here, all the fields here are required, and you could tell, or any required fields on the platform, they'll have a red asterisk. So that's normally a required field for you. Okay. Now, a lot of these fields that you're filling in, a lot of them, I believe you guys can pick up on, understand what you're going to be putting in for that field. But if you need some help, it's not too clear. Oftentimes, if there's an I here, just hover over that I, and you'll get a quick description of what to put in for that field. Okay. All right, but I'll try to break it down, simplify it for you guys. So first field here, so let's go through some of these. Distribution list name, you're giving a name to your list. So let's just pretend, hey, I signed up for this account, okay, because I wanted a way to communicate to my my employees, my staff, my organization. I wanted to communicate to them internally. Okay, so I want to create a list for them. So we'll put anything related to that. So maybe, staff members, and then I'll put 22 for the year, or 2022. Okay. Monthly message frequency. Okay. In fact, these next two fields are for disclosure purposes. All right. It's possible that you could be using this list with some of your opt-in tools. All right. So these two fields here, it's to take care of these disclosure portion. So monthly message frequency, here you are giving an estimate or giving an idea of how many messages you might be sending to these group of contacts. All right. So again, it's just an estimate. Whatever number you put here, it doesn't necessarily limit you to that. Okay. So monthly message frequency, let's just pretend, hey, I might, send a message maybe once, twice a week within the month. So, we can meet in the middle and say, all right, I see myself, sending up to 6 messages per month. Okay. Message content type, this would be describing the type of messages you're sending out. So again, I'm just going to stick to my example. However, it's probably going to differ with all of you and the industries you guys are in, even the specific campaigns that you'll be running. Okay, in my case, in my example, let's just say, hey, I want to use this as a way to notify my customers of anything, emergency alerts, events, things like that. So I'm just going to put content type will be notifications. Okay. Now, alternate list name. Usually I keep it straightforward and simple. I just use the list name at the top. I also use that for the alternate list name, but that field there, that's for people who are interested in using our API. So we have a programming portion that we do offer, which is the API. So for you to identify which list you want to send to, okay, you have to use the whatever name you put here for alternate list name. Okay, so yep, it says right there certain features such as API, right? So to identify again what list you want to send to, you have to use the alternate list name. Okay, so make it straightforward and simple. I just use the list name at the top. I'm gonna go ahead and create here. Okay, there you go. So I successfully created my list. Now, I do apologize. I have quite a bit of lists. In fact, my team, myself, we use this account for a lot of testing. So we have a lot of lists here. But the one I just generated right now was the staff members 2022. So you can see it pop up here. Okay. So for most of you, you're not going to have a whole bunch of lists here, not yet. Maybe eventually down the line, you're probably just going to see that maybe 1 or 2 lists that have been created in your account. Okay. So again, that's where I want to start. Now from here, once you have your list, then we can go into adding contacts to the database. Okay, so the way to do this is once you have your list created, you want to add a contact to that list. Go ahead and click on the distribution list that you want to add contacts into. Okay, it's going to open it up, and then here you'll have options to add contacts. So upper right hand side, you have the add contacts button. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Okay, now for some of you, you may have this certification pop-up come up, and some of you may have already taken care of it. Okay, so just to let you guys know, for this portion here, it does have to be filled out, okay, before you can start adding contacts. Now, to summarize this, because it is a lot of pages, okay, this is basically our legal agreement, okay, that you're agreeing to, and what it is it's basically saying that all the contacts that you're going to be uploading, you have received proper consent. Okay, that's the most important thing when it comes to contacts that you're freely going to add and upload into our database. So we want to make sure that you receive consent. Okay, and usually that's from the forms that you have used to collect contact information. So that's what this pop-up is for. So some of you, again, might have already taken care of it. And then there are some of you that will come across this. So just want to give you a heads up on that. So you'll just agree to terms and accept. Okay. Now from there, then you'll have the option to add contacts. So you can manually add or you can import contacts. Okay, manually add, that's where you add contacts one at a time. So let me go ahead, click on this. Okay, so if I wanted to add contacts, pretty straightforward. I have my form here. I provide the name of the individual I'm adding. And then down here for tool information, contact tool information, you got to have at least one of these options. So either a mobile number or an email address. Okay. Then from here, you're going to select which distribution list you want to add into. So it selected my distribution list staff members 2022 because that's what I clicked on. So it has that as default. Okay, but if I want to add more, or maybe I want to create a new list, okay, I can do that. So I got the create new list option. I'll get that pop-up that we worked on a little bit earlier. Okay, but I can add additional lists if I wanted to. Okay, I can say all employees, and now I have two lists. So from there, once you fill out the form, go ahead and click on add. Okay. All right. So let me click on that. Okay. Import contacts. Okay. And give me one moment here. Let me make sure. So for import contacts, okay. Here you're going to start with selecting your distribution list. Okay. This would be the option for those of you that are looking to maybe upload a large list of contacts. So it could be hundreds of contacts, even thousands of contacts. Typically, you'll want to go this route to add contacts into the database. So again, first step, you select which distribution list you want to upload all the contacts into. So if you click on select list, it'll give you all the lists again. So pick the one that you want to add contacts into. Okay. Let me see. Okay, there you go. All employees again. And then if you want to create a new one, you can. Just click on save. Okay. There you go. Handling invalid contacts, handling existing contacts. So these right here, normally, I would tell customers just leave it as is. These are more important maybe down the line if you wanted to update some of the contacts in your database. Then at that point, I would say consider one of these options here. Okay. Down here, this is where you're going to be able to select your file to upload. Okay. Now we do have a specific format that you do have to follow. So I want to go over that first. Okay. Because some people, they do miss that. So down at the bottom, how to use, that actually goes over the format of the upload. Okay, so I'll break it down for you. But these are your instructions and a guide that you can follow. So for the most part, the upload itself has to be Excel. It's got to be done on Excel, and it has to be the CSV file. Okay, you'll find with Excel that there's a lot of type of files that you can choose from. Okay, the one that our system will look for specifically will be CSV, or you'll see it as a comma delimited. Okay, so make sure to select that option. The format itself, you follow very, very similar format to this. So at the top row, that's your header. That's to identify the different information, okay, column of information that you want to add. So default, the system is ready for first name, last name, mobile number, email. Okay, so you would have, if you wanted all that information, for example, you'd have first name, last name, mobile number, email. Okay, it doesn't have to be in any specific order. You just got to have a column and then the header. Okay. Now, another detail I want to go over, this is probably the most important one, would be in regards to the mobile number. So just make sure that with the mobile numbers, you don't have any characters in them. So no parentheses, no dashes, periods, asterisks, things like that. You just want to make sure that it's only the 10-digit mobile number with no spaces. Okay. Now there's a quick way to do it on Excel. You can use the find and replace feature to quickly take out all those characters. Okay, you can do it in a few minutes. However, if you find yourself struggling, then at that point I would say contact support, connect with a support rep, work with us, and we'll get you going on the format. Okay, in fact, we'll probably do the first list for you, and moving forward, you can use that as an example. Okay. All right. Okay. Once you got your list all prepped up, then at that point you can select from your files your list. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Okay. I already have one that I've generated. Then down at the bottom, this match data types will pop up. And so what's happening here is the system is reading my Excel sheet. Okay. So it's reading. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Well, at any rate, it's reading my Excel sheet and how I have come up with the columns. So my first column, that's first name. Okay. So what I have to do here is tell the system how to read my column. So if I put first name as my header, then I'm going to say read it as first name. I have my second column as mobile number. So I'm going to say, okay, read it as mobile. And then the last, pretty straightforward, email. So I'm going to select email. Okay. So I'm matching how my columns have been set up. And again, I'm telling the system how to read it. So that's what I've done there. Once you have completed matching your data types, then at that point, go ahead and click on add. Okay, and there you have it. And at that point, the system is going to start adding all the contacts into the distribution list. Okay. All right. So then if I were to go back to my list, okay, again, I have quite a bit here, but it's going to start, it's going to actively count how many contacts are entering into that list. So you'll see the different columns here. You'll see the number of contacts go up, and then whether you're uploading mobile numbers or emails, you'll start seeing the numbers go up as well for that. Okay. All right. So that'll wrap up the first part, okay, of the core features, and that'll get us going on how to add contacts to the database. All right. So let's move on to the second part, signups. Okay. So back to the left here, we have a tab for signups, and then you have two options here. You have keyword signups and online signups. All right. So this would be the other way to get contacts in the database. Okay. So there may be some of you that don't have your own list of contacts. Okay. Or you won't be adding manually. So for some of you, you'll be starting new campaigns, fresh campaigns, so that you can collect contact information from your users or your market base. Okay. So again, we have two tools that you can utilize. First one is keyword signups. So let me go over that first. Now keywords, if you're not exactly sure what they are, maybe you've seen advertisements of this because it's been a while now, but you may see some words out there that are being promoted. Typically, it's everywhere. It could be on a what do you call this? On an ad board. When you're driving down the highway, the freeway, you can see this post it on flyers around anything really, stores, or this could be on a commercial. Okay, it could be radio, could be TV, where people text you or ask you to text. It could be anything. For example, let's take a sports team, Lakers. Okay, I'm sure they have a keyword, and the way that they market their keywords is, hey, text Lakers to, and then they'll have a number that you can text the keyword to. Okay, usually it's either a short code or a toll-free long code. Okay, you're able to do both in our system. So let's say text Lakers to 99,000 if you'd like to get updates on the Lakers schedule. Okay, Lakers in that scenario is a keyword. Okay, so you can essentially do the same thing in our system. Okay, so let me go ahead and go into creating a keyword. So upper right hand side on this page, click on the create button. Okay, so then right here, first step, you come up with that keyword. Let's go back to my example of trying to create a list for my staff members, employees. Let's say, hey, I want them to all text in a keyword so I can quickly collect their mobile numbers. Okay, so I'm going to have them text staff, 2022. Okay, that'll be the keyword that people have to text in. Double opt-in confirmation. So here, you can leave this as is for mostly everyone, but I know there are some of you that might have to do this for legal reasons. You can do double opt-in. Okay, it's a secondary step for verification. But other than that, you can leave it as is. Okay, distribution list. So where do you want all this information? Registering. So which list do you want to use? Okay, so I'm just going to pick my all employees list, or again, create a new one. Organization name. Okay, so when you set up your account, when those of you that set up your account, there was a field for organization name. Okay, usually it's your company name. By default, that usually pops up as an option, but if you need to register more, you can. To do that, however, you'd have to go to the settings page, okay, within your account. But I'm going to leave mine as my default one, which is Trumpia. And then down at the bottom here, response, or auto response, this would be the text that sends out when people text in your keyword. So you have some settings here. Okay, you can have it to where every time someone texts in your keyword, a response is sent out. Okay, now that's okay. And a lot of people leave it as is. However, just know that if you're allowing the system to send out a response every time it's possible, you're going to eat up a lot of credits. Okay, so some people like to change that. So that's where you can change that option and say, all right, you know what? I have a whole bunch of people that I'm dealing with, and a whole bunch of them text my keywords in a lot. Okay, so I want to change that so that my credits don't get eaten up. Well, then if that's the case, you can change it to maybe once per mobile number, meaning the auto response will only send to a user one time. Okay, once the system recognizes they've already received the message, if they text in your keyword a second time, okay, it won't send out because it already happened. Okay, that's a way to save yourself some credits. Other than that, again, leave it as is. Just have the system send out the response every time. Okay, set auto response. Okay, so here, if I click on that, I'm setting up the text that sends out. Okay, so here's my text box, bottom right hand side. I'd say pay attention to some of these details because this is your credit count. So as I type in the count, or not the credit count, I'm sorry, the character count. The character count will start accumulating. So I'm going to put a message here. Now, usually it's a thank you for joining, our texting list. We will keep you updated, with so-and-so information. Okay. And it can be anything. All right. Now, as you can see, when I typed in the box here, character count went up. Okay. You do have a max of 980 characters. Okay. But I do want to point out that for every 160 characters you use, it uses up 1 credit. Okay. So as you type into another set of 160 characters, okay, so for example, if I were to keep going, right, and I got to the very end, I'm about to hit 160, and let's say I go past that, I'm into another set of 160 characters. So for me to send out this message, it would cost 2 credits per contact. Okay, so that's the way that works. Now, again, you have a max of up to 980 if you're using text only. Okay, so we have something that's called concatenated messaging. So if you're just using text only, you have up to 980 characters to use. Okay, if you divide that by 160, it comes out to, I believe, 6 credits. Okay, so it's possible you can have a very long message, but again, just be aware for every 160 characters you use, it uses up an additional credit. Okay, now the other type of text message that we have is MMS. Okay, so here with MMS, that allows you to insert an image. So if you wanted to insert an image, you can pull from your, if you already have images uploaded. I might have one here. I do. Or you can pull a new one from your device. So if you had maybe a folder with images that you wanted to use, then you can go ahead and use that as well. Okay. All right. Now with MMS, it's a little different. With MMS, if you include an image, then it'll cost 3 credits per contact. So it's a significant jump. So just understand that. It is different because you're able to include an image with a long text. Okay, the character count does change. It changes to 500 if you go MMS. Okay, so just be aware of that. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and save this. There you go. So I got my keyword. I have my auto response. Okay. I'll say down at the bottom here, the last feature I want to cover is data capture. Typically a keyword, by default, it's only made to collect the mobile number. But if you wanted to maybe collect other information, maybe the name of the individual or other data fields like email or custom data fields like city, state, department, things like that, you are able to do that. You'd be using the data capture feature. Okay, but just understand that every time you ask for, let's say, another data field, okay, it'll become more conversational. So it'll be back and forth, and it will cost credits to do that. Okay, but we do have, I'll say that we do have a lot of customers that utilize this feature frequently. Okay. Okay, so let's delete that, and then let's go ahead and create the keyword. Okay, so there you go. Created my new keyword staff 2022. Okay, once you see the status is active, then at that point, people can start texting your keyword to your toll-free long code. And by doing so, they'll be giving you their number and becoming a part of your texting list so that in the future, you can go ahead, send them a message. Okay. All right, let's move on to online sign-up pages. Okay, the other way to add contacts into the database. Okay, so this is the other option that we have. Now for this one, I'm actually going to refer you to the how-to guide. There's also a video that you may watch, okay, but I'm going to go over the how-to guide real quickly. Now with our online sign-up pages or our online sign-up forms, we actually use a third party to help us. We use Typeform. So in the very first step, it'll direct you to go to Typeform. So let's go ahead and do that now. Now with Typeform, okay, you do have to set up an account. Now, all you need is the free version, okay? But let's just give it some time here. There you go. So all you need is the free version. So right in the middle of the page here, okay, you'll see a black button. It says Get Started. It's free. You can click on that and set up an account, okay? So you don't need to pay for anything. That's all you have to set up with. Now, I'll say this. With the online sign-up pages on the new interface, you do have to be a little tech savvy, okay? I like it. I like the program itself because the forms, they're very modern, very nice in design, and there's a whole bunch you can choose from. Okay, as you can see, these are actually examples to the right that's popping up. So these are how the forms are going to pop up. Okay, it's very dynamic. However, you do have to be a little tech savvy because it can be overwhelming. You have a lot of choices to choose from. That's what I would say. Just heads up on that. Okay. So from here, again, set up yourself with an account, and then from there, just follow the steps. Now the steps are pretty straightforward, pretty easy to follow. Some of the first steps here, it's going to walk you through on how to connect your Typeform account with your Trumpia account. Okay, so you have to link up the two accounts. Then from there, as you continue, then it'll start going into how to actually create your online sign-up forms. Okay, so again, I'm gonna leave you guys with the how-to guide, and honestly, you just have to follow it step by step. Okay, and that's it. And again, if you ever need help with this stuff or anything on the platform, call support, connect with a support rep. All of them are pretty knowledgeable. We'll walk you through all the steps, okay, and help you out. Okay, so that will wrap up the second portion. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the last part, which is sending out a message. Okay, so we went over how to get contacts in a database. Either you add, import, or you have your opt-in tools, you're running them. Then at that point, let's say, hey, it's been a couple weeks now, I've gained a bunch of contacts and now I want to send out a message. So to the left here, click on the messages tab. From the options, click on mass messages. Okay, and then from here, okay, you can go straight into composing a message. Now, right off the bat, it's going to show you a history of all the messages that have been sent out. So that's what you're seeing here. So this is actually an example of your reporting. So it gives you a timestamp to show you what day these messages were sent out, and it also gives you it identifies the description of the message that you created. Okay, so that's what you're seeing here. But if you want to compose a new message, upper right hand side, click on compose. Okay, all of this is pretty straightforward. Again, just concentrate on all the required fields. So description. So here this is for internal use, but you're giving a description for the message you're sending out. So let's just say, hey, reminder of meeting. Okay, and then we can put a date. Okay, I have my org name. Again, I'm going to leave it at my default one. Schedule. So when do I want to send this message out? I can send this right now, or if I want, I do have the option to schedule messages. So I pick the date and time. Okay. Recipients. So I need to select which list I'm going to send this message to. Okay, so I have to pick one of the lists that I've uploaded contacts into or collected contacts into. Okay, so there we have it. Got my list there. Then down at the bottom, this is where I select what mode of communication I want to use. So, a majority of our customers use text. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. Okay, but if you look, you have the option for email, which I'll go over in a little bit. So I picked text. So very similar to auto response. I got my text box here. I have my character count. Okay, so I'm going to type up a message like, hey, that we have a meeting today at 3 p.m. Okay, see you there. All right. So again, pay attention to your character count. You have the option for MMS. Okay. You have concatenated messaging again. You have other features that you can utilize. We do have a URL shortener. Okay. In fact, for those of you that want to insert links within your message, you might want to pay attention to this portion. To send out links, either you send out a direct link to the site, okay, or if you're planning on using a shortened link, carriers actually don't like third-party shorteners, okay, or public shorteners. So those bit.ly links, those tiny .urls, things like that, we actually warn our customers, or at least give them a heads up to refrain from using that. And if you need to use a shortener, use our shortener. So this right here is a shortener. So if you need to shorten a link, paste your link in here, the main link, and then insert. Okay. Other than that, you have to use the entire link, which can use up your character count. Okay. So if you need to use a shortener, use our shortener because ours has been approved on a carrier level. So just keep that in mind. Okay, we have a couponing feature if you want to use that, and then we have a personalization feature, which is a merge feature. So if you wanted to, let's say, pull the name of a customer or a certain custom data field, and you want to pull from your main database, throw it in the message, you have this option for that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click on save here. Okay, that's my text message. The other option, like I said, is email. Okay, so this one's pretty straightforward as well. So to the right here, you come up with the subject. So I'll just go back to my reminder. To design my email, click on the blue design email button. Okay, in the middle here, you have some default placeholders. Okay, so this is where you can compose your text. So I clicked on that. So to the right, this is actually where I'd be able to change it. So edit. So hey, reminder. Say I want it to bold it. This is your editor, so you can mess around with this. Okay, you can change the content there. If you want to add additional sections, maybe you want to throw in an image, or maybe you want to you have a developer or someone that can create templates. Okay, you can maybe make a section for HTML coding to pull up a template. Okay, or you can insert images. Okay, so pretty simple. The options here are drag and drop. Just take the option that you want to use and drag it towards the middle and just let go, and it'll create a section for that. Okay, so I'll go ahead and save and close that. Okay, save my email, and there you have it. I got my text, I have my email. Okay, at that point, if I want to send, bottom right hand side, click on the send button. There you go. Okay, so I'm gonna go and send. So it's gonna go through my credits, how much it's gonna cost. Okay, then at that point, there you go. I just sent out a message. So then at this point, depending on the size list you have, okay, you can track a percentage. Okay, so typically it'll go through it. There you go. I just had to refresh it real quickly, but you'll see that it sent my message. I actually got it on my phone. And there you have it. Okay, then at this point, if you want to look at reporting, you can click on the message you want reporting on. It'll redirect you to another page where you can analyze some of the information here. Okay. Okay, so that is going to do it for our training today. So at this point, I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes or so to ask any other questions you may have. Now, for those of you that do need to take off, I want to point out some resources here. Bottom left-hand side, we do have a support option. Okay, so if ever you need help from support, you can click on that. On this page here, it's our support request page. So you can call us directly because it's going to show our number. Just keep in mind the hours of operation. But if you can't call us, you have a chance to create a ticket. So this would be the form to create that ticket. Okay, so here in the message box, that's where you would type in or maybe explain the issue or a question that you have, and then from there submit. All tickets were registered down at the bottom. Okay, and that's where you can manage your tickets. So it's where you can view our responses, but it's also where you can respond back to us. Okay.